All right, so I'm outside of a 2020 Honda Fit, and this is the EXL model. So there's an LX, a Sport, an EX, and then an EXL. I'm gonna walk you around the outside and we'll hop in the inside and look at this car. The first thing I wanna point out from the outside is it does have keyless entry, meaning I can walk up, put my hand on the door handle, it'll automatically unlock for me, or to lock it, I can press the black knob and we're locked. So easy enough to do it from that standpoint. Now, moving down the side of the car, you do have indicators in your mirrors, which I always like to point out. Those are nice and they'll keep you safe. And then you do have the painted alloy wheels on this vehicle additionally too. Now, moving around to the front fascia of the car, I'm going to point out that you do have your halogen beam headlights. And then, of course, you do have your fog light control, so that's part of getting this model. And then you got the honeycomb grille with, of course, the chrome setup mixed with black right there too. So from the front, pretty mean looking little car as far as that goes. Now, I will point out, you'll see this trapezoid up here, and that's going to be related to your Honda Sensing. So that's where one of the cameras is it uses to read the road. And then the secondary, the radar is actually going to be right behind your Honda symbol on the front end. So if you're curious as to where those are, that's where they're at. So moving around to the other side of the car, the first thing I want to point out is on the side of this mirror, you'll see there's actually a camera right here. And this is your Honda Lane Watch camera. And when I take the test drive, I'm going to point that out. So really cool what this can do. It's going to show you your blind side off this entire side, and when we get in the car, I'll show you too. So moving around to the back of the vehicle, let's point out some things. You've got these large lights, so that everybody should see you coming. And then, of course, it is badge fit, and you've got the chrome finish on your windshield wiper and your privacy tint on the back. So I'm going to pop it open and show you a couple things. All right, so the first thing I want to point out is it does come with floor mats, so something to always ask, because there are cars out there that do not come with floor mats. You've got adjustable headrests right here, and then down here, if I can pop this open, underneath this plastic piece, you'll find your spare. So you do actually have a spare in this car. So I always like to point that out. Not all cars these days come with spares. Now, if I want to throw my seats down, I'm going to throw these down so you can show you, but I want to show you a couple different things. First is how much space you've actually got back here. It's a lot of cubic space. It's surprising when I put new people into these cars how they'll look at it and go, wow, I was not expecting this. But secondarily, I want to show you a different thing you can do here. Whoops, let's unlock it here. So, all right, what I've done is created the lounger mode is what it's called. Not that many people will show you this, but what's really cool about it is I can take the headrest off this seat, make it 100% flat and flush with the back seat. So if I was camping and things got weird and went bad, I could actually lay in this. So it's really cool that you can do that. None of my other vehicles offer this. Now, secondarily, I want to show you another feature that this car offers that you'll only find in this vehicle and the HR-V, which is based off this vehicle. So if I flip my seat back up, first thing I'll point out is that I can fit a 6-footer behind a 6-footer. On the test drive, I actually do it, so you'll see it. But this is what I wanted to point out. I can flip these seats upright and lock them into place. So if I had a bike, I had potted plants, a big TV that I bought, I could slide that on in here with this locked and then be able to pull it out. So you could fit an entire bicycle in here. You may or may not have to take off the front wheel depending on how big your bike is, but this is a very versatile car when it comes to the seating arrangement. So from the front, from the back, there's a lot of different things that you can do in this car when it comes to seating, spacing, and storage. So let's hop in the front of the car and go over some different features. All right, so I will point this out. It doesn't come with a powered seat in your EXL model. It's just a standard seat setup with your bar in the front, and then if you want to raise the seat or lower the seat, and then it'll adjust your back. So just something to be aware of. It doesn't come with powered seats in this car. You do, however, have heated seats, so that is kind of nice if you live in those colder climate areas. All right, so I'm going to crank it up. It's push button start, so foot on the brake, press your start button, and that'll fire up your car for you. All right. Now that we got it cranked up, let's go through a couple things here. I'll start you over on the left side. You've got your auto up-down window on your driver's side, and then your electric controls, your door locks, your window locks, and then of course your mirror controls are right here, so left and right, and then toggle. Now down here is going to be the beginning of some of your safety features. The first one is your collision mitigation braking. So what this is designed to do is if it's looking like I'm going to rear in another car, it'll give me an audible alert, a visual alert, and then it'll actually start to apply the brakes to prevent the accident. So this is part of my Honda Sensing suite. This is collision mitigation braking. The next one down here, so if I turn that on, this is my road departure mitigation. So what this feature is if I start to drive off the shoulder of the road, it'll give me an audible alert and start to shake the wheel to be like, hey, wake up, pay attention, you're about to drive off the road. And you can see that when I have it on, there's an LED, and when it's off, I don't. Now, next to that is my vehicle stability assist. This is my traction control. So if I start to go into a skid, it'll transfer power to whichever wheel is getting better traction to correct for that. Now, above that is my Econ button. So when I hit my Econ button, you'll see it I'll get a green leaf right here, and it'll actually alert me over there, letting me know that I've turned it on or off. What this does is the Econ button is going to improve the gas mileage on the car, but it's a give and take system. So you're going to give up a little bit of the acceleration off the gas pedal, and your AC unit isn't going to blow quite as hard, but you're going to get better gas mileage. So it's shutting down electrical systems to help create better fuel efficiency. So that's how the Econ button works. Now, right above the Econ button is one of my favorite features in the Honda Fit. It's such a simple one. It's just a cup holder, but it's nice and high to where I can set it, and it's right by my vent. So if I got a cold drink and I got, it's hot outside, it's blowing cold air on it to keep it cold. And if it's cold in the morning, it's blowing hot air, and I got my coffee right here. So it's such a simple feature that no other car does. And of course, you've got your other cup holders, which I've got, my GoPro and my sunglasses in it. And then I've got my door holders over here that I can put them, and you've got them in the back seat. Since I got it flipped down, you can see them right there too. So I've got cup holders in this car everywhere. Now, over here you can see that I've got my RPMs. It's letting me know that I'm in park right now, my outside temp, and then my speed is right, of course, here. And then over to the left, you'll notice that you can see vehicle settings right now. So I have some controls over that I can affect, and I do so using these back here. So you'll notice that there's arrows, and when I toggle on the arrows, it'll run me through different menus. The vehicle settings is cool, only because I can jump in here and get to like my tire pressure monitoring system if I need to recalibrate it. If I want to just jump back out, go into default. Maintenance info is going to be like my oil life, different things like that. So I'm just going to back out of that just because I think that's pretty easy to understand. Now, door setup's really cool. I like door setup because this is where you can affect your door locks. Auto door lock is set to when I hit 10 miles an hour to automatically lock the doors. If I want to change that, I can change it when I shift to park, or I can turn it off. All right, so I'm going to jump back out of that and move one down. And this is unlocking. So right now it's set up to where when I open my driver's side door, it then unlocks the remaining doors of the car. Well, if you got little ones, maybe you want to change that. Or if you got grown-up kids, or you don't have kids and you don't need that on, then maybe you want to turn it completely off. So you have some options here. Just know that. All right. So under that key and remote unlock mode, this is just related to, pressing the buttons on your key fobs and things like that. Now the walkway auto lock feature is one I really, really do like. So if I get into this, it's not currently on, and I wish that they would make this a default feature to be on. If I turn this on, what this means now is that when I get out of the car, if I have my key with me and I get 10 feet from the car, it'll automatically lock the doors to the car. This is a great feature for the person who gets halfway to the grocery store and goes, oh my God, did I leave my laptop in the car and it's unlocked? If you had this feature on, it would automatically lock the doors for you and you wouldn't have to worry about it. So that's the walkway auto lock feature. And then this is like, exactly what it sounds like, keyless answer back. So if you wanted to, when you double click your lock, it beeps at you and stuff like that. So there's other features in here you can play with, but those are like the big ones that I really like. So I just like to point it out. And that's how I'm toggling through. You press up or down and then you select from here. So it's not hard to use. Now on the other side, I've got my Bluetooth features. So to answer a call, to hang up or go back in a screen, and then if it's my voice command. So this will work, press this and say call so-and-so, that sort of thing. It'll also work if I'm using Android Auto or Apple CarPlay. So I'd be able to press until I hear the beep for Siri and then ask Siri to do something for me. Siri, text this person, Siri, call this person, Siri, give me navigation directions to such and such. So really cool and multifunctional piece right here. Now to use Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, you would plug your phone into this USB right here. If you're an Apple-based user, you won't have to do anything. From there on your screen up here, smartphone connection, you see Apple CarPlay and you select it. If you're an Android-based user, you're gonna need to download the Android Auto app. But same thing, it'll say Android Auto, you'll select it, and that'll give you access to your music, your messages, your navigation. Navigation could be through Google Maps, it could be through Waze, Apple Maps, if you love it. Don't know many people who do, but know that you have these options available to you. So that's how Apple CarPlay works. Now, on the steering wheel, I want to show you a couple things. This first one is this button right here. This is just kind of a quick jump between my menus, depending on what I have open. So not a lot to really discuss there. Now, my source button's a cool one because my source button, if I press it, anything that I have audio-wise going, it'll toggle between. So let me jump into some audio here so I can show you. So if I press my source button, it'll jump to AM, it'll jump to Sirius XM, which this car comes with for 90 days for free. And then afterwards, it'd be up to you if you want to continue it. If I had a USB plugged in down there with like some music on it, it would jump to that. Or if I have Bluetooth set up on my phone, it would jump over to that too. So it'll give me lots of options to use. Now my volume controls are right here, so I'm gonna go ahead and turn it down. So that way you have an understanding for what's going on the pad there. And then you can see when I'm pressing this, it'll jump between my Bluetooth or my audio. So that's this top button right here. Now, if I have like my audio pulled up and I want to jump into the menus, I can press this bottom button and you'll see it'll pull up and give you some options to scan and do some different things. That way you can do it all from the steering wheel instead of playing with the touchscreen if you're concerned about that. So that's the left side of the steering wheel. On the right side, so I'm going to show you what some of the Honda sensing features are. And on the test drive, you're also going to see them in action. So that'll be a little bit after this. So I'll do the walkthrough first, and you're going to see the test drive afterwards. So the first thing you do is press the main button. And when you do, you'll see ACC and LKS pop on. And what that stands for is Adaptive Cruise Control and Lane Keep Assist. Now, Lane Keep Assist is using this button right here. If you press that button, you're going to see some dotted lines pop on over there. So I just wanted you to see those. And let me see if I can exit out of this screen just so you got less going on over there. All right, so yeah, when you're going over 45, these dotted lines are going to fill in solid because it's then actively reading the road. And how it's doing so is it's using the camera up here that I was pointing out earlier to detect those lines. So if I start to drift to my left or if I drift to my right, it's going to pick up the road, the dotted lines, and keep me centered. And I'll do it on the test drive, and I'll hover my hands over it and let the car keep me centered. It's actually a really cool feature. So that's Lane Keep Assist. Now the other one is my Adaptive Cruise Control. Now I'll start you off with this. If you just want classic cruise control, press and hold this button, and it'll flip over to cruise mode. Cruise mode is a classic cruise control. If I press and hold again, it'll flip back. So adaptive cruise control is set to where when I get to the speed, I press set, it's now holding my speed, then I create space using this button. When I press it, you'll see boxes appear. The more boxes, the more space it keeps between me and the car in front of me. So that way, if I'm concerned and I want more distance, it'll keep that for me. Now, if I want to change my speeds, I've still got the plus and the minus. But what's cool about it is if that car in front of me slows down, it'll keep that spacing and slow my car down. And then when I get out from behind them, it'll take me back up to the speed I set. So I'm not, canceling, resuming, which you do with your classic cruise. So that's how these features work. Now, up here, you'll notice I do have a positive and a minus sign, and those are my paddle shifters, so I can pull forward or backwards, or I should say on either one, to upshift the car or downshift the car. So this just gives you a little bit more control over the performance of the vehicle. Now over here, I do have an auto on-off headlight setup, and then I do have fog light control, so the off and on are right there. Now, if I press my right blinker on, the coolest thing, and I'm going to show you on the drive too, but it'll throw on my Honda Lane Watch camera, and that's that camera I was pointing out that's hanging off the bottom of that mirror. So what it does is it's showing me the entire right side so that I don't have to look away from the road, back over my shoulder, and then worry about the car in front of you that might have stopped, right? So that's what the function of this tool is. So red line is the end of my car, red to orange is a car length, and then orange to orange is a secondary car length. So if I'm like exiting the highway, this is a great feature. So that's how it works. Anytime I fire on my right blinker, it's set up to automatically come on, or there's a button I can press on the tip of the blinker stalk and turn it on, and it'll stay on until I press that button to turn it off. Now, if you want to mess with those settings, you absolutely can. And you can do it from the touchscreen settings. And I'll see if I can remember how to get to this. I want to say cameras, lane watch, and then I can change this to if I don't want it to do the turn signal and how long I want it to stay on after I turn the signal off. So easy to affect these controls. If it's something you're concerned about being distracting to you, you can turn it off to where only the button turns it on. Just something to know. And then on the other blinker stalk, if you press down, it does your front windshield wipers, and then to do your back windshield wiper, you'll use the toggle right here. Now over here on your touchscreen, I'll just kind of briefly touch on some things here and show you how this works. So I'm from my home screen right now. Audio-wise, I just want you to see your audio options. Things you've got, FM, AM, comes with 90 days of Sirius XM. You have USBs that you can plug and deal with music. And then, it's compatible with anything i-related, so iPods, iPads, that sort of thing. And then I've got Bluetooth controls also. Pandora compatibility also, if you're more of a Spotify guy or girl, no big deal. You can use the Apple CarPlay or Android Auto setup, or you can just simply use the Bluetooth to play it through there. So you have access to a whole lot of these features different ways. Now, jumping off of that, my info button is going to pull up like my tripometer information. So it's just, visually, if I want to be able to see it in a larger space, I absolutely can. And then secondarily down here, Honda Link. The one thing I'll tell you about Honda Link is for this vehicle, there's not a lot of additional features it's going to offer, but I will say that when you connect up any phone, it's going to prompt you. One of the last questions when you connect up a phone is going to say, would you like to engage Honda Link? And the answer should be yes. Because what it is that if I get into a car wreck and the airbags deploy, Honda will actually call down through the car to me. If I don't answer, they'll actually call 911 for me and send somebody out based off the GPS of the car. And they'll already know the location of the car, the color of the car, the make, the model, so it makes it much easier to find you in case of an emergency. So Honda Link, what I just described, 100% free, comes with every Honda. Now, connect up a phone. If you've never connected one, it'll prompt you and start you the prompt right here to ask you to connect a phone. Easy to do, nothing to it. If you need to connect up a second or third phone, how you would do that is from here, I want to go to phone. And then once I get there, my Bluetooth device list, because I want to add something to that list, and then add Bluetooth device, and I'm back to the same thing. Turn on my Bluetooth, and it'll start searching for your phone. So really easy to connect up a phone in this car. Now, in your settings over here, you already saw some of it. I showed you the camera feature. phone, what you can do from there, Bluetooth and Wi-Fi if you want to add and remove devices, no big deal. System, this is where you can jump into some of the deeper functions of the car if you don't want to hear that beep every time I touch something, or you want to change this background and make it not blue. You have that ability to do so. Maybe you like amber, I don't know, and you want everything on the screen to be amber. Okay, well then you can do that. It's not hard. The car's easy to, and that's the big point that I'm making here, is it's easy and functional to work through, so you shouldn't have a hard time doing that. All right, so we're gonna let that load, I guess. All right. While it's loading up and rebooting, I'll point out that you do have a volume knob here, so that was a big point of contention for a lot of people. And this is the dimmer, so if you didn't know what it was, now you do. And then your flashers are, of course, right over here. Now your AC controls are right down below. You've got hot and cold, how much air, and where you want that air to go. Your AC, make sure your AC is turned on, and then if you want to recycle the air or push in fresh air, and then your rear and mirror defrost, so know that you do have those controls here. I do have a power outlet down there, so if I have like the classic cigarette lighter setup, and then secondarily, I do have another one inside of here with another USB. So I have two USB ports, and then two power outlets that I can plug into. So a lot of places you can charge. This car does have a moonroof, so I'll just point it out right here, and your controls are right here. I think most everyone has a general understanding of how that works. And then, what I call normal new car stuff, your mirrors and, all the basics. All right, so I'm inside of a 2020 Honda Fit, and this is the EXL model. So it's gonna be your LX, your Sport, your EX, and EXL. So this is gonna be the top end. So this is where you're gonna see like leather and things like that. So we're gonna take it for a drive and kind of give you a rundown of the car and how it sounds, how it feels, and things like that, okay? So, all right, let's take off and get moving here. All right, so as we start to take off, there'll be a couple things I'll point out just because it comes up commonly when I'll be riding with customers. The first would be the sound. This is going to be probably the loudest car that Honda offers, and part of that is because it has the smallest wheelbase, and because it's just the lightest car, right? So it's gonna create noise. On top of that, it does have the CVT transmission, which you're gonna hear rev up, which you'll probably be able to hear. Let me gas it here. So you can hear it kicking up and going. That's natural for a CVT to sound that way. That's just the way it's designed. So it's not putting strain or anything on it. But I can actually get up moving. I'm going almost 60 miles an hour now, so it was able to get me up to speed actually pretty quick. So it's kind of nice when it comes to that point. I wouldn't say that this car is underpowered for what it is. Now, if you're comparing it to, a Civic or an Accord, yeah, it's definitely going to seem like it has a lot less power, but that's just based off of, engine size, displacement, the car itself. So something to keep in mind. Now, I'm going to try out a couple features once we come around this corner here. The first one we're going to want to try is going to be the lane keep assist. So for lane keep assist, I'm going to want to engage it first. So the first thing that I'm going to want to do is hit my main button, which is up on your right side of your steering wheel. And then secondarily, once I get up over 45 here, it'll actively start reading once I engage it. So to engage it, there's some dotted lines in a steering wheel on your steering wheel that you can press here. And then when you press that, you'll be able to see in your display, which is actually over there, it'll alert you that it's now looking to read the road. It'll show some dotted lines. When those fill in solid, it's now actively reading the road. A reminder, you do have to be going over 45 miles an hour to use vehicle stability assist, which is the controls I'm talking about. So we'll get up here. So it's actively reading the car now. It's reading the lines on the road. So if I start to drift a little bit to my left or my right, it'll actually center me. So right now, you can see that I don't have my hands on the steering wheel, but it's actually keeping me centered in this lane as we drive. So it's a really cool feature the way it works. And it works incredibly well. So I'm kind of hovering my hands over the steering wheel just to be, obviously careful. You can see it just gave me a steering alert. So it's lost track of the road or it's detected cars on the side of me. So I'm gonna hop on the highway here and we'll try out the secondary feature that I wanna show you, which is going to be my adaptive cruise control. So how that works is same thing. I've already got it set up because lane keep assist and these two are attached to each other. I get up to the speed that I want to set, and then let me get up to a speed. All right, so I get up to a speed and I press set. So now I have it set to 66 miles an hour. What it does though is it uses this button right here, which if you're looking from the other angle, you'll see it's a car with some boxes in front of it. The more boxes I put in there, the more space it's gonna keep between me and the car in front of me. So less boxes, less space. So right now I have it set to 66. It's gonna keep on moving until I get up to the car in front of me. When it does, it'll then start to slow my car down to create space. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take it up to speed a little bit so we can catch up this car in front of us here. All right, perfect example. All right, so the car is slowing me down now. I don't have my foot on the gas or the brake, and then it's gonna create my spacing and then take me back up to the speed that I have set. So feature works perfectly in this car. It's existed for a Honda for a few years now, so this is part of the Honda Sensing suite. So what this is this is your adaptive cruise control. Now, if you want to use just classic cruise, you absolutely can. To do so, all you've got to do is press and hold on the button with the car and the boxes in front of it that creates that distance. If you press and hold, it'll flip over. So I'm not going to do that right now just because I'm using the feature, but I want you to know that that is available to you. So other things I can tell you about this ride, it's surprisingly a pretty smooth ride. I'm actually sitting in the front seat. I'm a 6-footer. I have somebody helping me film behind me who's also a 6-footer. We can comfortably fit in this car together behind each other. So just to show you spacing wise, this car actually has a lot of cubic space. I would argue that cubic space as far as storage wise, other than the Odyssey, this one actually has the best space. All right, so there's a feature that I really want to touch on that Honda's moved away in some of my other vehicles, but it's a hit when it comes to anybody who's owned a previous Honda. What that is there's a camera off the right mirror in this vehicle. And anytime I throw my right blinker on or I press a button on the blinker stock, it turns on my touch screen. So if I press the button right now, it's gonna fire on, and on my touch screen, you can actually see behind me. So you can see there's a red line that's the end of my car, and then a hash line, which is a car length, and then a secondary. So this is great for when I'm like exiting the highway. I don't wanna have to look back and away from the road to merge and have to worry about that. So a perfect example right now is I have a big FedEx truck coming up on me, and I can see that he's 2 car lengths behind me. So I know that I have enough space to go ahead and get over. So what's cool about this is I can either turn my right blinker on and it automatically fires it on, and then it'll turn off when I turn the blinker on, or I can press the button on the blinker stalk and it'll turn it on. So this is the Honda Lane Watch camera is what I'm describing right now. Fantastic feature. It doesn't exist in all my cars anymore. Some of my cars have moved away to blind spot monitoring systems where it lights up in the mirrors, which is kind of what's classic you'd find in a lot of other makes too. But Honda started doing this some years ago, and it's a fantastic feature, and you can still get this feature inside of the Honda Fit. So it is something that I would say is definitely worth checking out. It's definitely worth it. If you're gonna put a new driver or just someone who's not that comfortable in the car, maybe it's an older driver, this is a really good feature to help them out. To talk about Honda Sensing, being able to protect them from drifting out of lanes, protect them from frontal collisions as far as braking systems, and then having this on top of all of that, it really does set you up for success when it comes to being an older driver, or just someone who wants to make sure they're being safe because they've got family in the car. So we're coming up on the end of the test drive. As far as what I would tell you about this vehicle, it is a little bit loud in comparison to other vehicles out there, but it is a compact car. If you're comparing it to other compacts, I don't think you'll find that it's loud. The doors and the weight of the car, it's actually not flimsy at all, which is what I used to run into a lot when you'd see other makes. You'd go to close the door, you'd go for the sound in it, and it would everything felt cheap. It's a very substantial or solid car is how I would describe the Fit. Versatility in the seating is fantastic. You can do a lot of different things as far as putting cars in different places. So overall, I think this is probably one of the best compact cars out there you can get, especially as far as for the dollar amount. The only knocks I would say is CVT can get a little bit loud and the road noise is a little bit loud, but if you're used to a hatchback and you're used to a smaller car, this probably isn't going to be a concern for you. If you have questions about it, feel free to reach out. You can always comment on the YouTube video. I'm more than happy to get back to you, or give me a call or a text, 737-443-9555. And if there's something you would like to see in a future video, please let me know. Comment on the video and please subscribe. I would love to help you out. I just need to know, and I'm always looking for fresh content to add, I should say. So let me know.